But power isn't in shouting or demanding. It's in the moment you decide you will no longer bow to the noise around you. You walk into a room not to blend, not to please, but to claim the psychological ground beneath every pair of eyes. And when you speak that one sentence, calm, controlled, carved from unshakable intention, they feel it. A shift, a recalibration, an awareness that you are not here to participate, you are here to dominate your own presence. Not through manipulation of others, but mastery of yourself. That's the part they never expect. Cold clarity, quiet certainty, the kind that makes the restless uneasy. Before we go deeper, comment, "My silence is sovereign." Let those words anchor you as we begin. The sentence that controls the room. You walk into the room, and every instinct in you wants to prove something, wants to assert, impress, or overwhelm. But power doesn't come from performing. It comes from positioning, from grounding yourself so deeply in your own intention that every word you release carries the weight of an unspoken threat. You cannot be moved. The sentence that controls the room is never loud, never emotional, never desperate. It's the one you deliver with an unbroken gaze and absolute internal steadiness. I won't repeat myself. Not as a challenge, not as hostility, but as a declaration of self-respect, so cold and concise that it rewires the behavior of everyone listening. Most people speak to be accepted. You speak to be understood. Most speak to fill space. You speak to create pressure. And when you deliver that one line, the room recalibrates. Not because you're manipulating anyone, but because you're removing all invitation for chaos or disrespect. It's the sentence of someone who knows exactly who they are and refuses to dilute themselves for approval. People feel that, and they adjust instinctively, the same way animals recognize a creature that no longer fears losing anything. You aren't seeking control of them, you're demonstrating control of yourself. That's the part rooted in real Machiavellian strength. Not deception, not cruelty, but composure so absolute it becomes its own form of intimidation. And the dark psychology behind it is simple. Humans fear what they cannot predict, and a person who is unshaken, unbothered, and unwilling to explain themselves twice is deeply unpredictable. The moment they sense you're the one who sets the emotional temperature, respect follows. Not forced, not extracted, earned through presence. If you feel that truth in your chest, comment, "I speak once, and it's enough." Let that become the foundation of your new identity. And as this realization settles, let it pull you into the next level of power, where your presence alone begins to quiet the noise around you, and your stillness becomes the loudest force in the room. Presence that silences noise. Power isn't always in what you say. Often, it's in what you refuse to react to. When you enter a room, most people scatter their energy in every direction, seeking validation, scanning for approval, leaking insecurity from every micro-expression. But your presence becomes lethal the moment you learn to withhold. Your stillness becomes a mirror, and people will confront their own nervousness when they stand before you. This is the Machiavellian truth. The one who needs nothing controls everything. When you sit with calm posture, slow breath, unhurried movements, and eyes that don't dart around searching for cues, the room begins to fold itself around you. Humans instinctively submit to the person who appears least dependent on external acceptance. It's ancient psychology, old as dominance hierarchies themselves. Your stillness creates tension because it signals something rare, inner certainty. And certainty, especially when silent, carries a cold gravity that others feel before they understand. You don't compete for attention, Attention gravitates toward you because your energy doesn't leak. You aren't loud. Your quiet is louder than their noise. You aren't eager. Your restraint becomes a form of command. This is the presence that silences chaos. Your refusal to rush, your refusal to fidget, your refusal to break eye contact first. Dark psychology explains it cleanly. People fear emotional opacity. When they can't read you, they can't predict you. When they can't predict you, they respect you or they retreat. Machiavelli would tell you that influence belongs to the one who masters how they appear, not through manipulation of others, but mastery of self-presentation. Your presence must feel like controlled fire, contained but undeniably dangerous. If you feel that shift within yourself, comment, "My presence speaks louder than noise." Let that phrase imprint itself as a behavioral code, and as that stillness crystallizes inside you, follow its thread into the next evolution, where confidence stops being something you show and becomes something you radiate, an aura that wraps itself around the minds of everyone watching. Without saying a word, you become the question they can't solve, and the answer they can't ignore. Crafting the aura of dangerous confidence. Confidence becomes dangerous the moment it stops being a performance and starts being an atmosphere. A quiet, slow-burning force that others can feel before they even name it. You don't declare your strength. You let people sense it in the way you move with deliberate intention, in how you speak only when necessary, in how your eyes hold a person long enough for them to question what you already know about them. This is where Machiavellian philosophy fuses with dark psychology. Power is not about appearing confident, it's about becoming unreadable. When people can't decipher your motives, they instinctively elevate your importance in their mind. You become the anomaly, the variable they can't control. The less you reveal, the more they obsesses over what you might be hiding. That's the aura, dangerous confidence built on disciplined restraint. Most people wear their emotions on their sleeve. You keep yours locked behind a steel door. Most people explain themselves. You let silence carry the message. Most scramble to be liked. You remain unconcerned with whether others feel comfortable around you. And the strangest thing happens. The less accessible you are, the more magnetic you become. Humans are drawn to mystery and intimidated by self-containment. Your calm becomes provocative. Your indifference becomes seductive. Your presence becomes a psychological puzzle. And the room begins reacting to you without you lifting a finger. Dangerous confidence isn't aggression, it's control. It's the refusal to overshare, overreact, or overreach. It's the way you hold yourself like someone who has already won a battle the others haven't even noticed yet. You walk in with the energy of a man who answers to no one, fears no silence, and bends to nothing. And when people sense that, they watch you differently. They listen differently. They treat you differently. If this resonates, comment, "My confidence is untouchable." Let that phrase become the armor you wear. And as you let this new aura settle into your bones, step with me into the next layer of power, where silence becomes your sharpest weapon, and every pause you make becomes a pressure others cannot endure. Strategic silence as a power tool. Silence is the weapon most people fear, because it forces them into confrontation with their own insecurities, their own projections, their own frantic need to fill the void. When you master silence, you stop playing on their field and pull them onto yours. You aren't withholding words to manipulate, you're withholding them to maintain control of yourself. Machiavelli understood this. A ruler who speaks too quickly reveals too much, and a man who reveals too much becomes predictable. Your silence is not emptiness, it is calculation. When someone tries to provoke you, your stillness becomes a mirror that exposes their impulsiveness. When someone seeks validation through chatter, your quiet forces them to face their anxiety. And when someone expects you to react emotionally, your calm creates a psychological pressure they cannot diffuse. This is dark psychology in its purest form. The understanding that people reveal more in your silence than they ever would in your conversation. You don't rush to fill the gaps. You let the gaps do the work for you. You don't over-explain. You let others interpret. And in their interpretations, they expose where they are weak and where they are unsure. Your silence becomes a filter that separates the grounded from the insecure. It teaches people how to approach you, how to speak to you, how to respect you. They begin to choose their words more carefully, slow their tone, adjust their energy, because your quiet demands precision. Strategic silence doesn't scream power, it radiates it. It makes you untouchable because it shows you are not driven by impulsiveness or ego. You operate from clarity, from discipline, from a cold sense of internal direction. And when you choose to finally speak, every word lands with the weight of intention. They listen because you don't waste breath. They follow because your voice isn't diluted by noise. If you feel this settling into your identity, comment, "My silence is power." Let that phrase echo through you. And now, let this sharpened quiet carry you into the next realm, where emotional detachment becomes your armor, and nothing external can shake the kingdom you've built inside yourself. Detachment that cuts through chaos. Emotional detachment isn't numbness, it's sovereignty. It's the moment you stop letting the world pull you like a puppet on invisible strings and start choosing what actually deserves a reaction from you. Most people crumble because they are hostage to their own emotions, leaking their fears, their hopes, their wounds to anyone who pays them half a second of attention. But your power begins the moment you detach. Not from humanity, but from the chaos that tries to recruit your energy. Machiavellian strength is rooted in this exact principle. The man who cannot be provoked controls the one who constantly is. Detachment is the cold psychology of refusing to let others dictate your internal weather. When they expect anger, you stay still. When they try to guilt you, you stay calm. When they attempt to sway you with praise, you stay unmoved. This makes you unreadable, and unreadable men are feared long before they are understood. Your detachment sends a message. I am not shaped by your expectations. You stop reacting to disrespect. You stop negotiating with your insecurities. You stop chasing approval like it's oxygen. And something remarkable happens. People start adjusting themselves around you. They choose their words more carefully. They treat you with a subtle caution, as if aware they're interacting with a man who cannot be emotionally manipulated. This is the masculine stoicism that sharpens your presence. Your emotions become private territory, inaccessible to strangers, unavailable to opportunists. You aren't cold, you're controlled. You feel everything, but you express only what serves your direction. Detachment doesn't make you less human, it makes you less vulnerable to the wrong humans. And as the world grows more chaotic, the rare man who remains centered becomes the one others instinctively follow. If this truth is carving itself into your identity, comment, "My emotions belong to me alone." Let those words seal your internal fortress. And now, let this hardened clarity lead you into the next ascent, where dominance becomes effortless, not because you raise your voice, but because your very presence changes the rules of every room you walk into. Dominance without raising your voice. Real dominance is never loud. It doesn't need to be. When a man truly understands his power, he stops wasting his voice trying to prove it. He speaks with precision, with control, with intentional coldness that makes every word feel like it's carved from stone. While others shout to be noticed, you speak low and calm, forcing them to lean in, forcing them to feel your presence rather than merely hear it. Machiavelli understood this. The most feared individuals are the ones who command without theatrics. You don't intimidate through aggression, you intimidate through certainty. People raise their voices when they've already lost the argument within themselves. You, on the other hand, occupy the room through steadiness. The more everyone else escalates, the more your stillness exposes them. Dark psychology explains it simply. Humans instinctively defer to the one who appears least disturbed. Your controlled tone tells them you don't fear conflict. You've already mastered it within your own mind. You don't talk to dominate. You dominate by choosing when to talk. That kind of restraint is rare, and what is rare becomes powerful. When you speak slowly, with relaxed breath and unwavering eye contact, people subconsciously register you as someone who expects to be listened to, and they listen. You become the anchor in the room, the fixed point others orient themselves around. That's the silent hierarchy you create without announcing it. Your dominance is not a performance. It is the natural consequence of internal discipline. You speak like a man who has nothing to hide, nothing to prove, nothing to fear. And when others sense that, they adjust. They mirror the tone you set. Your voice becomes the emotional thermostat, determining the heat or the calm of every interaction. If this truth is burning into your identity, comment, "My calm is command." Let that phrase become your quiet weapon. And now let this deepened control pull you into the next evolution, where you stop just influencing the room and start seeing through it, reading intentions, studying motives, and decoding every hidden signal long before anyone realizes you've understood them. Seeing the intent behind every face. Power sharpens the moment you stop listening to words and start studying what lives beneath them. Most people are blind in social situations. They take everything at face value, trust too quickly, assume sincerity where there is only strategy. But you learn to read people with a kind of cold precision that turns every interaction into an X-ray. This is where dark psychology becomes your advantage. You recognize that every expression, every hesitation, every shift in tone reveals more truth than any sentence spoken aloud. You watch the eyes first, because eyes betray desire, fear, envy, insecurity long before the mouth can fabricate a lie. You notice micro-tensions in the jaw, the subtle tightening in the shoulders, the forced smile that doesn't reach the eyes. You observe how someone enters a room, how they place their weight when they stand near you, whether their voice rises or falls when responding to pressure. Machiavelli would tell you that knowing a person's intent is the first step to controlling the outcome, and he'd be right. When you can read what someone wants, approval, control, validation, access, you understand how to position yourself. You don't react emotionally, you respond strategically. You don't reveal what you see, you store it. You let people talk, because the more they talk, the more they tell you everything they never intended to disclose. This ability doesn't make you manipulative, it makes you untouchable. You stop being blindsided by hidden motives. You stop being surprised by betrayal. You begin to sense agendas before they unfold. And people feel it. They feel studied, analyzed, understood in ways they can't quite explain. Some become nervous, others become obedient, a few become cautious. But all of them recognize, consciously or not, that you are not a man who can be deceived easily. That awareness alone alters the social dynamic in your favor. If this truth resonates, comment, "I see what others hide." Let that phrase sharpen your perception. And now, step with me into the next layer of transformation, where this vision of human intent forms the foundation of something even stronger. Your evolution into someone mentally untouchable, someone whose mind cannot be accessed, influenced, or shaken by anyone. Becoming untouchable. Becoming untouchable doesn't mean you stop feeling. It means you stop allowing the world to trespass inside your mind. Most people collapse because they hand out emotional access like it's free currency, letting strangers, critics, and manipulators influence their thoughts, moods, and decisions. But you begin to seal the gates. You learn that the strongest power isn't domination over others, it's dominion over your own inner world. Machiavelli understood that a ruler who cannot govern himself is already conquered, long before an enemy arrives. Your untouchability comes from this mastery, the ability to observe what's happening without being consumed by it. You don't let praise inflate you, and you don't let insults diminish you. You stop being addicted to validation because you recognize that the moment someone can make you feel worthy, they also gain the ability to make you feel unworthy. Untouchability is psychological independence. It's emotional sovereignty. It's refusing to let temporary people leave permanent marks on your mind. Dark psychology reveals something crucial here. Most manipulation thrives on emotional access. If someone can influence your feelings, they can influence your decisions. But when your emotions are no longer available for external control, when you react slowly, think clearly, and detach instantly, you become impossible to maneuver. You don't chase, you don't cling, you don't beg for understanding. You simply move with purpose, aligned with your own judgment rather than the opinions of the crowd. And people feel that. They realize you are not swayed by their approval nor shaken by their disapproval. You become the man whose mind is fortified, silent, focused, unbreakable. A presence like that alters dynamics instantly. It forces others to recognize your boundaries. It makes them think twice before attempting to influence or diminish you. And most of all, it frees you from the exhausting cycle of external emotional dependence. If this truth feels like it's carving itself into the steel of your identity, comment, "My mind is my fortress." Let those words become the shield around your thoughts. And as this unbreakable inner foundation settles into place, step with me into the next level, where fearlessness transforms from a feeling into a strategy, turning you into someone whose very confidence becomes a force others can't help but respond to. Fearlessness as social leverage. Fearlessness isn't the absence of fear. It's the refusal to let fear dictate your behavior. Most people walk into rooms already defeated, weighed down by the imagined judgment of others, terrified of rejection, terrified of being seen, terrified of making the wrong move. But the moment you stop needing approval, you gain a psychological leverage that can't be taught. It can only be unlocked. Machiavelli knew that a man who cannot be intimidated is a man who cannot be controlled. And dark psychology echoes the same truth. People instinctively defer to the one who seems immune to consequence. When you stop living for validation, you stop shrinking, you stop hesitating, you stop apologizing for your presence. You act with a clarity that others mistake for fearlessness, but really, it's liberation. The freedom to speak without trembling, the freedom to walk away without guilt, the freedom to stand alone without feeling incomplete. This makes you unpredictable in the eyes of others, and unpredictability is a form of power. They can't shame you because you don't measure yourself through their lens. They can't pressure you because you don't fear loss. They can't manipulate you because you don't chase acceptance. And in that moment, the social hierarchy tilts, quietly, subtly, but unmistakably in your favor. Fearlessness becomes your leverage because it exposes their dependency on approval while you operate from internal certainty. You move differently. You speak with a weight that doesn't tremble. You make choices without contamination from insecurity. And people feel it. Some admire it, some envy it, some fear it, but all of them recognize it. A fearless man is dangerous because he is self-directed. He is guided by principle, not popularity. He is grounded in conviction, not in the shifting opinions of the crowd. And the world, consciously or not, respects the man who stands firm when everyone else bends. If this truth ignites something in you, comment, "I fear no judgment." Let that declaration become a weapon sharpened in silence. And now, with this fearlessness settling into your bones, walk with me into the final ascent, where everything you've built transforms into a legacy of power, precision, and unwavering self-command. The final ascension into power. Power isn't a moment, it's an accumulation. Every controlled breath you've taken, every silence you've held, every boundary you've drawn, every emotion you refuse to leak has been forging something inside you far greater than dominance. Identity. This final ascent isn't about becoming someone new. It's about unearthing the version of yourself that the world tried to bury beneath noise, doubt, and expectations. The untouchable version. The sovereign version. The version that doesn't need to announce power because he embodies it. Machiavelli understood that the most formidable rulers weren't the loudest. They were the ones who stood so firmly in their own certainty that people reorganized themselves around them without realizing it. And now that's you. You've carved yourself into a man who doesn't flinch at pressure, who sees through intentions, who uses silence as strategy and stillness as a form of command. A man whose emotional autonomy makes him impossible to manipulate. A man whose fearlessness makes him impossible to predict. A man whose presence alters the temperature of a room long before he speaks. But this ascension isn't just about how others react to you. It's about how you react to yourself. The world may try to challenge your composure, provoke you, question you, but you answer only to your own standard. And that standard rises now, not through aggression, but through precision, through disciplined ambition, through razor-sharp awareness, through the refusal to live a life dictated by fear or external approval. The dark psychology of influence teaches one final truth. The one who defines himself cannot be defined by anyone else. You've built that. You've earned that. You've stepped out of the emotional shadows and into a place of mental sovereignty that few ever reach. Your calm is no longer passive, it's weaponized. Your silence is no longer empty, it's strategic. Your presence is no longer accidental, it's engineered. And your power is no longer borrowed from the reactions of others. It's generated internally, continuously, quietly, like a cold flame that never needs to roar to be felt. The question now is not whether the world will respect you, it's how they will adapt to the man you have become. Some will be drawn to you, some threatened, some challenged, but none of them will forget you. Because a man who controls himself leaves an imprint far deeper than a man who tries to control others. If this final transformation resonates with you, comment, "I ascend beyond doubt." Let that be the last declaration that seals everything you've built. And as this journey settles into your bones, remember this. Power is not a destination, it's a discipline. A way of moving, a way of seeing, a way of existing. You've taken the path most people fear to even consider, and you've walked it with intention. If you want more scripts like this, more lessons, more steel, more psychological armor, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. The ascent doesn't end here. It begins here.